in this final session, we'll cover the workshop follow-up as well as summarizing the workshop content. So let's start with summarizing the workshop content. Once you've completed the 2 workshops, you will have generated a lot of information. And these 2 workshops in the Integrating Equity module are designed to provide the teams with a tailored idea of how equity applies to their own work so that they can carry that equity lens forward with them into the future planning steps and implementation. And the way that we facilitate that is by producing some module outputs. And the key output for this module is the Integrating Equity module takeaways document. And you can find that document in the bottom corner of the Reflect mural in this area here. So let's take a closer look at that document. Move that out of the way. So here you have the document. And it comes with instructions that are already there. So you want to just complete the team name where it says team name. It includes some of those definitions and dimensions of equity. And then there's spaces to capture the information from the different workshops. So that information that you generated in the Understand workshop about why it matters, the challenges and limitations, as well as human well-being impacts, and then those equity entry points, and activities that are identified in the Reflect workshop, as well as those key actions that they can take. So you can summarize all of that in this document, and the blue stickies indicate the instructions for what goes where. So you can just bring the information over and summarize it in these areas. Now, the easiest way to do that is just to simply go to the Reflect and the Understand mural boards and then copy over the stickies. Just copy them and paste them directly into the relevant spaces. So you can put that challenges, limitations, stickies, summary stickies into here. Bring the potential human well-being impacts. You can summarize that a little, bring them into the relevant spaces. So you can do that for each of the sections. If you want to add a little more detail, what you can do is maybe organize the stickies and add category titles. So say you had a lot of stickies here in the potential benefit, you could actually organize those and maybe add a few titles. That applies a little bit more to some of these here where you would have had like clusters. So you just want to summarize it, give just enough information and enough details to provide a useful summary, and then also capture those actions. So that's the simplest way to do it. And then once you're done populating the information in these areas, you can then export the document in a PDF format so that you have this takeaway that you can share with the planning team lead. They can also share with team members, and they can use in future planning sessions. So if they do a different module and they want to be aware of those equity considerations and potential intervention points, they can bring this document along as a reference. So the way to export this is to simply highlight the document. You can click on it. Okay, there we go. Right click on it and you'll see the download will come up. Click on download. It'll take you to the downloading screen. You see here the format says PDFs file. You want to make sure that you copy the whole selection so that it selects not just the outline, but all the contents of the document. And then click download, and that will download it straight to your computer. So that's all you need to do for summarizing the content of the workshop. Now let's talk about that follow-up conversation. So the follow-up conversation, the purpose of that is really to close the loop with the planning team lead. You want to bring a formal close to the Integrating Equity module experience and the workshop experience. And it's useful to do this fairly soon after the completion of the Reflect workshop. So within a week or so, you want to have that follow-up conversation. And it usually covers about 4 things. You want to hand off and walk through the summary document. So this document that you will have created, you now want to give that to the planning lead, walk them through so they understand what's contained in this document and how they can use it. They will also have their own ideas of how it will be useful for them. And then you want to answer any remaining questions that will have come up, say, after the completion of the Reflect workshop, either from that workshop or just of the overall process as a whole. And then you want to point the planning team to resources from the Readiness to Act portion of the module. So among the module materials, there is Readiness to Act, What that is actually just a document, a set of resources. I'll preview that for you really quickly. So you can download that and show them where to find it and share that with them. And really what this provides is some additional resources. So if the planning lead wants to know what resources are available to help me take action on some of those things that we've identified, or just deepen our learning and understanding, or if you have no idea of even where you want who to talk to get some additional equity-related guidance, it can help you with that. Or if you have particular interests in thematic areas, say you're working with Indigenous peoples, this can help you just get a sense of what are the organizational resources that are available. So you can share this document and it lists those resources and links to those different resources. And there are additional resources as well that you may also want to share. The one other that I'll mention is the Integrating Equity and Conservation by Design infographic. So you find that this is what it looks like. And this just serves as a reminder of the different equity considerations throughout the conservation planning process, so throughout the CBD process. If they're using different modules, what are those equity considerations? What are the process considerations? What are the outputs that they maybe can expect to produce with those modules? What are some equity checks? So some quick questions you can ask yourself as a planning lead to know whether you're attending to some of the equity issues within that particular module. So it provides all of those high-level information for each of the modules, as you can see here, the process, retrospective planning scope, all the way through to MAL module, monitoring, evaluation, and learning, about the equity outputs, what products are being created in each of those steps. And then the equity checks, the questions that you can ask to confirm you applied an equity lens during each planning step. So this is not comprehensive in terms of these are all the things you should ask or the only considerations you should make, but it's a useful guideline for the things you should think about and consider as a starting step. So those are the resources you might want to share with the planning leads. And then finally, you want to get the planning team lead's perspective on the process. So how the whole module went for them, how they found that experience, what value they found in it, maybe any issues or challenges that they see, and ideas they might have to improve future facilitation. So we're always trying to improve the module, and any feedback is really useful for the Conservation by Design team. And you want to share that feedback back to the Conservation by Design team using the feedback channels that are available. So that's the follow-up meeting and summarizing the workshops.